The Kardashians are a powerhouse when it comes to product marketing, often seeming to monetize nearly every aspect of their lives, strollers and baby gear included. And over the years, one or another of them has been seen with a wide variety of models, everything from legitimately good strollers like the Yo-Yo and the Vista, through extravagantly priced, extra-pimped preams, to what we'll be looking at today, which I find both sleazy and frankly sorta scammy, namely a succession of basement, back alley, swap meet quality models from Inglesina, primped with high-fashion fabric patterns so that they can be sold for thousands upon thousands of dollars. Now, I know it's easy to look at the extravagance of these purchases as just harmless self-indulgence by people who can afford it, but think, if this sort of product placement didn't work, then they wouldn't do it. And nobody, regardless of how much money they have, deserves to be duped with what's going on here, either by throwing away their money or by feeling somehow lesser if they can't afford this sort of trash. So, today then, we're going to look at 3 models, seemingly endorsed, at least she was photographed with them, by the Kardashians' newest mom, Kylie, explaining what the models actually are under their glitzy streetwear so that you can get an idea of how much of a scam this stuff actually is. And the first model, shamelessly pumped as though it's something to be proud of, is the Inglesina Vittoria, sold for around $500, or, with Fendi textiles, for $12,500. The Vittoria is a classic 4-wheel fixed-wheel stroller, so less maneuverable than a modern design with swivel wheels, definitely on the heavier side, but generally simple mechanically. We have a lot of experience working on 4-wheel fixed-wheel models, which have always had a niche market here in Norway, since the better ones tend to last and are good in snow. But note that there's a wide variation in quality here though, with only a handful of brands releasing strong modern takes on the design, the best of which being Emmalunga, a few brands still producing high-quality tanks using traditional methods, and a variety of low-end manufacturers playing off of the romantic vintage look to put out subpar models not really built to tolerate the same level of hard use that a stroller like this can normally take, but selling at half the price or less. The Vittoria is in this third group, supplementing weaker plastic elements on key mechanisms, like the brake bar, to sell what is, in essence, only a mock vintage stroller that will not only feel clunky to drive and big to fold, but will also fail to live up to the longevity that is common for the design, which at $12,500 is a bit of a problem in my opinion. Second up is the Inglesina Aptica, sold in a few variants, but generally for between $400 to $500 for just the stroller, or around $800 as a 4-piece with a car seat and bassinet stand included. Or, with Fendi fabrics, for around $3,500, or Dior fabrics for a little under $5,000. And this is just for the sports models, mind you. The price doubles if you want the bassinet. The Aptica is a bit easier to handle in some ways than the Vittoria, simply by virtue of its lighter weight and more modern design. But it's also far weaker when it comes to longevity and terrain capability, with somewhat cheap riveting on the lower front-to-back support struts, a lot of plastic mechanisms on the seat frame, a telescopic fold with the potential for fiddliness and symmetry issues as the chassis loosens up a bit, foam wheels likely to get pretty ugly as they wear down, and, despite the model's size and weight, quite poor suspension. It's a second-tier model at best, selling more through the savings that come from the package deal than by virtue of its technical merits, and it's not something one can expect to last long-term in my opinion, and thus again, not the sort of thing that should in any way be converted into a supposedly collectible asset through the addition of designer collaborations. And last up, as the biggest contradiction between the manufacturing quality of the stroller itself and the ridiculous price applied along with the textiles, is the Inglesina Net Passagino, a dime a dozen lower-end umbrella stroller, of which there are also a few variants, normally sold for just over $100, or with Fendi fabrics, for $2,000, as the Fendi Kid Zuka. I'm not a big fan of umbrella strollers in general, especially those that still hold on to the dual-wheel setup, adopted simply because Owen McLaren, the originator of the design, was an airplane engineer, and which make a stroller heavy and frustrating to steer after the wheels have loosened up a bit. But just in general, I find the whole design outdated, big and clunky compared to modern ultra-compacts, while also always getting rickety and loose as they wear down. That being said, even within the wider umbrella stroller market, there are differences in quality, and the Net Passagino is no McLaren Techno XLR. It's shoddier, with more weak points and less reinforcement, and believe it or not, those Fendi patterns aren't going to do much to keep it tighter and pleasant to drive, to keep it from jittering and straining as you curse your way up curbs or over a rough patch of broken sidewalk, and, of all these models then, to me, this one is simply the clearest example of what's really going on here, dressing up trash and fancy patterns to try and make it treasure. In any case, we hope you found this video interesting, and if you did, we ask that you subscribe, as it helps us to continue making videos in the future. In addition, if you are currently shopping for a stroller, we have a buyer's guide on our Patreon page which lists a wide range of models that we recommend, with a lot of technical and lifestyle related information. You can find it by following the link in the description. Thank you.